Is0bel. You enter Is0bel's cabin to find her jacked into the octopus. Her body slouches motionless, tethered to the machine. The computer's large display flickers to life again, just as it did last time. Is0bel's avatar fills the screen. This isn't helping. The avatar frowns down on you, a look of supreme disillusionment on its face. I'm decking, I'm in my safe space, and it doesn't help. The memories are just as painful here as they are in the real world. Your memories are a part of you. Decking doesn't make you leave that behind. No, I guess that it doesn't. White plumes of static flow from the avatar's fist. She's shaking. It fucking should, though. I can't handle not having a way to escape from this. Well, come on. So what are you gonna do about it? I don't know, okay? I just don't. You know what? Hang on. The avatar winks off of the screen and the terminal powers down. Is0bel's body shudders. A familiar tremor. Her consciousness is flooding back out of the matrix and into her meat. Her eyes flutter and she takes a sharp breath. Slowly, shakily, she rises from her perch on the floor. You're here with more questions, right? She coughs into the crook of her arm, wipes her nose with her sleeve. I'm sure that you are. Why else would you be bothering me? So spit them out, and I'll go digging around in that cesspit that I call a memory. Who knows, maybe we'll find a clue. I know that you're hurting, Is0bel. If anything helps, go ahead. She takes a deep breath, makes a visible effort to calm herself. No, that wasn't like me. This isn't the person that I want to be. I'll be okay, I can handle this. Just ask your questions, okay? Let's get this ball rolling. Any thoughts on the last run? I have to admit, I had a lot more fun in Repose Bay than I thought I would. Parties aren't really my thing, and I'd rather be slicing icy than cake. But how many people can say they went on a run to blackmail a rich guy and ended up fighting his vampire mistress? Nobody on Shadowlands would believe me if I told them the story, not even a little. I don't get why Sheng Yan hired Shadowrunners though. There are a dozen better ways to blackmail Ma. Get a decker to plant evidence of embezzling, hire the triads to crash his sets and intimidate his crew, burn down a soundstage or two. The way I figure it, he wanted to hire us because he's friends with Ma. It's a messed up friendship, but it's there. Wong got fired, but you let Ku Feng hang around with Ma. I don't get it. It would have been pretty easy to chase her off and rob him of a major ally. I guess Sheng Yan got what he wanted, but if he goes toe-to-toe with Ma, I'm gonna bet on the guy with the vampire for a friend. Because she's not a bad person and he's not a bad person. That's why I let them stay together. Right? I mean, the vampire was a little silly. She's an accountant, but she thought she could fight us. But Neville Ma's not a bad dude. Right? He's just the only thing suspicious about him was how quickly he healed. And as soon as we figured out how quickly he healed, there was absolutely nothing wrong with him. Like, he was not a bad guy. He didn't do anything wrong. Anything else you wanted to know? I have a question about the walled city. She clenches her jaw. Nod. Go on. Gorbert said that you didn't want her to guide your parents out of the walled city, that you wanted them left behind. Oh, that's a bit rough. But let's do it. She nods miserably. Yes, but not for anything that they'd done. My parents were good people. They fled Somalia to try to find a better life for their children. It wasn't their fault that they wound up in the walled city. I wanted them left behind for me. For you? What do you mean by that? Isn't it obvious? She taps her temple. This. I knew what I was going to have done. I'd planned it well in advance. After I got out, I was going to find someone who could make my childhood go away. How would that have stuck if my parents were around? If I had a living reminder right there next to me, it wouldn't have, so they had to stay. But also, you probably couldn't have escaped. Robert said that if she took your parents as well, the three of you probably wouldn't have made it. Right, like Isabel made it out because she's small. And that her parents probably wouldn't have made it because they weren't up to it. You did what you had to. Yeah, I did. Besides, I was sure that they'd be fine. They were my parents, grown-ups. They'd be alright. I mean, you were wrong. You were right. They were not alright, Is0bel. I don't think they were alright. But you thought they would be. She heaves a sigh. Before you ask, I checked. They're gone now. I can't go riding to their rescue. They were not alright. I made a decision when I was a kid. It felt like the right one at the time, and now I have to live with it. You sure do. You sure do. Such is life. It wasn't always. Until very recently, I couldn't remember any of this. Now let's change the subject, okay? Anything else will be fine. I don't think that deleting your memories is really a good way to... Because you have to face up to it, don't you? I don't know. Gilbert told me about your escape from the walled city just like you said she would. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Why are you telling me about it? Because the answers she gave me raised more questions. And you want me to answer them for you, she sighs. Alright, SKZ, maybe I can satisfy your curiosity. The walled city was a hellhole, you already know that, but for all of its failings, it was a good teacher. Jeez. It taught me to hide, to stay small and unnoticed and insulated, to survive. It taught me that the fish on the perimeter of the school gets eaten. That sticking your neck out is a fool's errand, but that even fools can have their uses. It also taught me to recognize a stronger person when I met one, and how to use that strength for my own benefit. So when I met Goblet, I knew that she had something I didn't. Her magic, you mean? She nods. And her connection to Rat, and her willingness to risk her own neck on a whim. We were different people then, still are now, but the differences were even more pronounced when we were kids. Care to elaborate on that? Goblet was playful and carefree. She could hold her own in a scrape, but she mostly saw life as a game. As for me, well, I knew that it wasn't. I couldn't have been more than 9 or 10 at the time, but even at that age, I saw Goblet for what she represented and what she could be. And what was that? My own personal road out of the walled city, a path to freedom disguised as a little girl with dreadlocks. And as it turned out, I was right. Uh-huh. She pauses, her eyes slip to the ground and she tightens her hands into fists. Ever since I unlocked these damn memories, I can't go 10 minutes without thinking about what might have happened if I hadn't followed Goblet out of that place. It's like a vicious cycle, running over and over in my head. I hate it, but it won't stop. I feel guilty. You needed help and you took it. That's nothing to be ashamed of. It's bothering you because it's still fresh. Give it some time, you get over it. We all lean on each other. That's how we survive in the shadows. Get over it. I mean, like, that is fine except for the last three words, right? You needed help and you took it. Nothing to be ashamed of. Gives me another reason to feel grateful to her, I guess. That's something. I've always known that I owed Goblet, but now I remember how much and why. Anyway, that's my side of the story. I hope that it satisfied your curiosity. Now let's move on. Why don't you have your memories locked away? Why do you think they were awful, traumatic? I'm not talking about personal trauma here. I was fortunate enough to avoid the fates of many of my peers. I didn't get pressed into service in a brothel. The organ lickers didn't get me. I only had to watch one of my siblings die. She frowns. So yeah, it could have been worse. But that doesn't make an early life in the walled city any easier to bear. Hang on, you watched one of your siblings die? She nods. Yes, my older brother. Cab... Cabdale. Cadele? Heroin overdose. He was 19, almost the same age that I am now. Wait, you're only 19? Why are you shadow running? Oh, that's awful. Sorry you had to watch that. Me too. When I hear something awful, I almost envied him. He got out easy compared to a lot of people who die in the walled city. There was no violence. He wasn't taken by organ lickers or gunned down by the triads. He just put a spike in his arm, depressed the plunger, and stopped breathing, quick and easy. You could have done the same, but you didn't. You were stronger than that. I survived. I don't know if that's something to feel proud of, it's just what I did. I don't think any less of Cabdele for doing what he did. I don't even know if he did it on purpose. But his death was a lesson, and I did my best to learn from it. Everything that happened in my childhood was that way, a lesson in disguise. Lessons about impermanence and the random cruelty of life. Lessons about what a huge mistake it is to get attached and how to prioritize your own survival no matter what. Those lessons were important, they kept you alive, but it's just as important to know when to leave them behind. Yeah, like, you know, like when you're in a desperate situation, you have to do what you have to do, right? But once you get out of that situation, you need to learn to drop the more extreme adaptations, right? Like, you don't want to be stuck like repeating habits that you no longer need to survive. You don't want to do that. She nods. Yeah, no, but I'm having a hard time with that right now. We all carry the same scars, you and me and Gunshow and Gobbet. Some run bigger and deeper than others, but we've all got them. Her voice goes more. I don't want mine anymore. Abruptly she turns away, and that's enough of that. Ask me something else, Sister Casey. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Alright, that's all for now. Can we talk about something else? Alright, bye. Be well. You too! Gobbet. As you enter Gobbet's cabin, two things grab your attention. The first is Gobbet herself. She looks exhausted, bleary-eyed. The easy smile that you come to associate with her is nowhere to be seen. The second is what she's doing. Gobbet appears to be in the middle of a valiant attempt to stuff a whole roasted duck into a saucepan half its size. The bird's rubbery neck flops from side to side with every heave of her shoulders. What? She looks up from the saucepan, blinking. A corner of her mouth twitches upwards, but the half-smile falls away almost immediately. Oh hey, Seattle. Caught me at a bad time. I was just making dinner. Yeah, looks that way. Wouldn't that work better if you cut it into smaller pieces first? Huh? She blinks down at the duck and her mouth dips into a frown. Yeah, that'd probably be smarter, wouldn't it? I'm not really thinking clearly today. Any thoughts about the last run? I'm gonna ask this first. Like, this is kind of weird, but previously, if you don't ask this first, the game would end the conversation and you wouldn't get the opportunity to ask it afterwards. So anyway, I'm gonna ask this first. Any thoughts about the last run? Man, if every job we get could be about going to fancy parties and stealing their food and booze, I'd be a happy camper. I don't understand why these trid types get in their weird rivalries, but I'm sure as hell won't turn down money to help them blackmail each other. I have to wonder, do you have a soft spot for vampires or something? I mean, it's awfully nice of you to let Ku Feng live. But don't you think it's dangerous to let her hang around in public? Sure, we got Wulong fired from the show, but even so. Ku Feng seemed pretty new to the whole vampire thing though. I'm betting she'll piss the wrong person off and end up with a stake in her chest sooner or later. She didn't seem like a bad person, Gobbet. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you kill people just for being what they are, wouldn't that be like racist? It's the same reason I didn't kill Gaiju. Gaiju's a ghoul, right? He's literally a ghoul. But, you know, if he's not a bad person, we don't kill him. I mean, that's my philosophy. So what else do you want to check about? You okay? You don't look well. She rubs the bridge of her nose with a pair of greasy fingers, leaving smudges of duck fat behind. It's weird. Ever since our last lesson, I felt, I don't know, preoccupied with the sinking ship. Oh, do you want to go back? I don't really do the whole haunted by the demons of my past thing. I mean, that's fine for some people, but I'm allergic to drama. Generally, when thoughts of the past get me down, I remind myself that it doesn't matter, laugh it off, and go have a snack. But this, I don't know, it's weird. Ever since our last lesson, I haven't been able to get the sinking ship out of my mind. Now we're gonna go back, and we're not gonna get paid. She looks down at the pot full of mangled duck on the counter, closes her eyes. I guess I'm just worried about Cat and Mal, which is weird because why would I be? I mean, I haven't even spoken to them in years. Hell, if anything, they should be worried about me. I'm the one who gets shot at for a living. You know, Gobbet, you remember what you said about having like that bad feeling that you can't shake? You should pay attention to those. Maybe we should go check it out. The sinking ship isn't far, is it? No, no, I don't want to do that. At least not without a good reason. It'd be awkward, and I'm sure that is nothing anyway. Actually, check that. I know what this is. It's my own personal version of the same thing that we're all feeling. The psychic sewage that's being dredged up in all of us by whatever's happening in the Ward City. I don't think so, Gobbet. I'm sure that you've had some flashes of memory from the Barrens in your bad dreams, right? Images from your past come back to haunt you. But you aren't gonna drop everything and go running back there because that would be dumb, so tell me, why should I? Oh, because the sinking ship is like 15 minutes from here. It couldn't hurt to check. It's 15 minutes from here? It's that close? Look, I don't want to go back there if I don't have to. If thinking about the place is enough to mess with me like this, I don't want to know what being there would do. But I'll tell you what, I'll drop Malvina a line just to check in. Make sure that this is a me problem and not a them problem, and if there is something going on, I promise you'll be the first to know. Alright, Gobbet, if that's the way you want to play it. It is. Now, was there anything else you wanted, or can I get back to my duck? Thanks, Gobbet. Yeah, sure. In Seattle, everything will be fine, you'll see. If there is anything fishy happening on the sinking ship, you and Is will be the first to know, I promise. Alright, no lesson for today. And no duck. You don't get to share the duck. Didn't she eat enough at the party? Apparently not.